All right, so we just finished talking about local blocks, and now we're going to talk about global blocks. So global block is a little bit different. The main difference is that it lives on your hard drive as a file. So we've got some local blocks. We opened up a drawing, we created some geometry, and we said, okay, change this to a block, and now these are blocks. So I'm going to open up a new drawing. I'm going to hit the little plus sign so that we start clean here. There we go. And with a new drawing, I'm going to create a simple block. So I'm going to pretend to create like a monitor. So I'm just going to draw a screen. Let's make this, I'll make it a little bit more realistic, 20 inches wide by, I don't know, 18, no, 16 inches high. There we go. So, and we want to make sure that this ends up being close to our UCS over here. And based on what we drew last time, we learned that whatever we draw has to be or should be on the zero layer. So I'm going to put that on the zero layer right now. And once I did that, I'm going to go back and make sure that whatever I draw in the future will be on the zero layer. And let's draw an ellipse. I'm just going to take the ellipse tool, and I'm going to hover over the midpoint of the bottom, and I'm going to drop my mouse down. I see a green tracking line. And just kind of eyeball this really quick. I'm going to left click my center point. I'm going to bring my cursor up a tad and over to the side. And I didn't use my ortho. That's why it's a little, let's do it again. Turn my ortho on this time. So F8 to turn my ortho on, or you can go down here. Right down here. This is your ortho button, F8. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hover, tag the middle, drop down, left click to start my center point, and I'm going to bring my mouse up, not directly, but just underneath. I don't want to see the O snap, and I'm going to left click, and I'm going to drag to the side, and again, just visually left click, and I've got my little oval, and I'm going to use the rectangle tool one more time, and let's see, I'm going to be just to the side of center, something like that. And I'll use my trim tool really quick. I hit the trim tool, I hit enter, and I'm going to just drag while holding the left mouse button to erase that. And I'm going to zoom in and erase that. And I'll probably just erase this as well. So I've got a very quick monitor. This is all on the zero layer, as you can see, right? I'll hover over it again. It says layer 0. And that's it. This is all I have to do. Now I just have to save this drawing. So I'm just going to hit the save button. And I'm going to go into my my CAD class. So you can save it in whatever folder you have. I have a CAD 100 folder for the course that I teach. And I'm going to call this monitor for video. And I'm going to save it in there. So monitor for video. And that's it. So this is a file. I just drew whatever I needed to draw, and it's saved. And now this is basically a global block. So I'm going to open a new drawing, hit the plus sign again, open a new drawing. I'm going to go to the insert tab and the insert button in the block panel. And I'm going to say blocks from libraries. Okay, blocks from libraries. I don't think recent blocks will work because there's nothing in that definition set. We've got some things here. This is a different monitor from a different course I was doing. So let's go and do blocks from libraries. And in this window pop-up, I've got this little library icon. I want to click on that. And I want to find my monitor for video, hit open, and it's going to look for that. Give it a moment. There it is. So now it found that block, and I click on it and I drag it in, and I can let go. So you'll notice that when you bring this block in, look at where the cursor is in relation to the block itself. Okay. So I'm moving this around. I don't have an insertion point on here at all, but my cursor is basically where the UCS was when I created this drawing. So I'm going to left click to place it. I'm going to go back to my monitor for video file. This is the insertion point. Insertion point is 0, 0 all the time. So that's why I'm saying make sure you understand where your drawing is in relation to the UCS if you're creating a global block. All right. So I've got a global block. It's on the 0 layer. I can go ahead and go to the Home tab and put it on whatever layer I want. And I can add as many of these monitors as I see fit. Let's add one more. There we go. That one jumped on me because of the O snaps. I'm going to hold Control and the cursor arrows just to kind of nudge. Get in this little 3 monitor pattern. And let's turn this one into a hidden lines. Why not? Change the layers. And that's all hidden line now. Okay. Making changes, again, there's a couple ways to do this. Some people will want to go back and make the change in the original file. If you do that, it automatically will not change. All right. So the easiest thing or the best thing to do is really just to use the block editor. And to do that, again, double left click on any one of the blocks, hit OK. And then we can go ahead and make our change. So let's say I wanted a little frame. So I'm going to go to the Home tab, use the offset, or you can just type the word offset. And let's say 1 inch. I hit enter. And I select my outer screen, move my mouse into the middle, doesn't matter where, just into the middle, left click, and now I've set a screen, right? I'm going to hit enter because I don't need to select objects anymore. And I'm going to close the block editor. Asks me, do I want to save changes? I say yes, save the changes. And now it saved the changes for all of my versions or all my instances of this global block. So if I wanted to make a change only to one of these blocks, right, then the best case scenario would be to explode the block. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to type explode, hit enter. I'm going to select my block, and I'm going to confirm that by hitting enter. So now it's exploded. Okay. And I'm going to take out that offset. And now I need to redefine this, or I can just leave it, right? If I don't need it as a block, I can just leave it as is. Otherwise, I can try to redefine it as a block again. So I'm going to type, I'm going to make it a local block this time. Okay. BLOCK. It'll be a local block. And let's see if it'll let me do this. So I'm going to give it the same name, monitor for video. My pick point, I'm going to pick the center of the base here. And my object, we've got this. And hit OK. Now I haven't really changed the name, but it's asking me, do I want to redefine the block? Right? Why? Because we're using the same exact name. Now, we've already kind of redefined it a little bit by making changes to it, but let's hit redefine, see what happens. So it goes back to the original, which is what the drawing was. Okay, so I know that's a little bit confusing. So let's make a change in the original drawing. Let's go again, offset, 1 inch. Create my offset there, hit enter, and I'm going to save the drawing. Okay, so now this drawing is saved. I go back into my empty drawing, and the change will not take effect, right? I can try to regen and hit enter, and it's not going to take effect. In this little thumbnail, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say redefine only. And when I do that, it basically updates all of the instances to match what the drawing is. Okay, so now we have this original drawing. Whoops, that should be in model space. Now we have the original drawing with the frame around it, and it's saved. This will update. So you have to hit the redefine. All right, so if we wanted to explode this, explode, select it, hit enter. And let's get rid of this little bit here. Like I said, again, I can leave it, or I can create a new block. And let's do another global block, right? So the way to create a global block is to go to the Insert tab, go to the Block Definition palette. You're going to drop down and say Right Block, or you can use the keyboard shortcut W block. So Right Block starts with asking you what's your source. Is it a block already? Is it the entire drawing? Or is it certain objects that are in your drawing? So I'm going to say it's certain objects in my drawing. And my base point. My base point I'm going to make here. The objects to select. I'm going to select all of that and hit enter. All right. So we picked that. We selected that. We're going to convert it into a block. Then the file naming and path. I click on the ellipsis and make sure that it's in my going into my CAD drawing. I'm going to say monitor for video 2. Monitor for video 2. Save. So I've got the file path down here. And now I click OK. And now we've created another global block because it lives on my hard drive. And block reference. I take a look at the various references or the various blocks that I have. I've got monitor for video and monitor for video 2 because these are both blocks that are now inserted into my drawing. So the easiest way to create a global block is to just have a drawing on the 0 layer, save it, and that's it. Insert it into another drawing, and it will automatically become a global block. And that's all there is to it. All right. Hope you guys learned something. Go back and see the local blocks video if you need to learn more about local blocks. This is pretty much it for global blocks. Next, we'll talk about the design center and the tool palette.